Hi, Maria here. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm excited to bring to you my top picks for spring. So I've got 10 gorgeous fragrances here that I can't wait to share with you. They're all uplifting, they're invigorating, and they're perfect for spring. So before I get started, if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and hit that button. Join the Weird and Wonderful family. I would love to have you part of the community. And if you are already part of the Weird and Wonderful family, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. And without further ado, let's get into this. Now, when I think spring, I think juicy, I think lively, I think coming alive, I think floral. So that's what I have here for you. All of them are mouth-wateringly delicious and I can't wait to share. Now, before I get started, I want to share with you a new piece that I got from Jeulia.com. It's this beautiful pink ring. It's got the Jeulia stones around it, and I just think it's gorgeous for spring. They also sent me these earrings, and I am in love. I basically love Jeulia's jewelry. They're sterling silver. They're high quality. I so enjoy them. I've put this together. This is my wedding set that I'm using currently, and it's kind of a mixture of two different sets. So that's something you can do too if you want to totally customize it. So I've got two different sets going on here, but this ring is just perfect for spring. The other thing is that Mother's Day is right around the corner. So checking out Jeulia if you are wanting to get someone a gift, it's, to me, I just love their stuff. High quality, beautiful pieces, affordable prices, sterling silver. I'll leave everything in the description for you, including a 15% off coupon code. They're affiliate links, so if you do choose to purchase from them or use those links to take you to the site, I get a small commission if you choose to buy. No pressure, no cost to you, just to keep it real. That's kind of what goes on. But I love all my pieces. The only thing I noticed was one of my rings ended up losing a stone quite quickly. I talked to them about their policy, and all you'd have to do is send them pictures and then they work out the details with you. Good for, you know, if something goes wrong within the first couple of months or whatever. So anyway, love the rings, love them to bits, love the earrings as well. And yeah, let's get going. So I'm gonna start with Mon Guerlain by Guerlain. I had to include this for a spring fragrance. This is beautiful, and when I think of spring, I always think of lavender. Like, I think of lavender fields, and this has the most beautiful lavender note. I definitely prefer Mon Guerlain over YSL's Libre. So that one has a lavender note too, but this one, it's just sweet, it's delicious. This has quite a lot of patchouli, so if you're not a patchouli lover, you might not like this one, but to me, this fragrance is like the epitome of a romantic fragrance. With that lavender and the sweet, and somehow it feels calming and grounding, but it's still so pretty and feminine. So I love this fragrance. When I think of this fragrance, whenever I smell it, I just think of this beautiful woman, maybe 1940s. She's got on this long kind of gauzy sundress with a big hat and a basket, and she goes out into the country garden in France, and there's just fields of lavender, and you can hear the birds singing and you can see butterflies flying. And she's wearing Mon Guerlain, and so yeah, this fragrance to me is calming. It's beautifully feminine, it's sweet, it's got that lavender note. So if you don't like herbal or lavender, steer clear of this one. But this is just, to me, so feminine, so lovely. Jeremy Fragrance always says this reminds him of a wife. And I totally get that. Like, it's a classy fragrance. It's just gorgeous, but it's still got enough sweetness. Like, for me, sometimes in the spring, it's still a little bit crisp and cool outside. So this is going to give you that cozy factor. I love it. Now, next fragrance is TWILLY d'Hermes. This fragrance, it's perfect for spring, honestly. Even the color, like, well, all of these are kind of pinky blush colors, perfect for spring. But this one, I love kind of the peachy color. The color of the juice kind of represents what's inside. This has a note of ginger, so there's a little spicy quality in there. This is sweet, it's warm, it's rich, it's quite floral. This one's a little bit more mature to me, so I've said before that this is like the classy rich aunt, not the one that pinches the cheeks and goes, "How are you doing, darling?" and gives you a kiss and smells a little bit weird. Not that kind of auntie at all, but rather, not that, like, those aunties are darling and stuff, but I don't want to smell like. The aunt I'm talking about here is the rich, sophisticated aunt. She smells like TWILLY d'Hermes. So this one is, it's got that floral sweet component, but it's mixed so nicely with that ginger, so you get a little bit of a spicy kick to it. That kind of dies down though, and you're just left with a sweet, warm floral. Primarily tuberose in this one. So this one is just gorgeous and nice, long-lasting fragrance as well. Like, you're going to get about 8 hours out of this one. Like, I can wear it all day and still smell it. So great fragrance. Now the next one that is new to my collection is Cherry Rose by Melik Perfumes. Now this one, I've talked about it recently. I just love it. So it's got cherry. I think it has lychee accord in it, but I know for sure that there's cherry. And then there's this beautiful rose, but then it's paired with this patchouli. So although it feels light and airy to begin with, as it dries down, you get this depth with the patchouli, but the patchouli is different than in this one. So this one, the patchouli feels a little bit kind of almost fuzzy, whereas in this one it smells a little bit spicy. So it goes from being like a sweet, innocent rose to all of a sudden being kind of a sexy, deep rose. It just totally morphs. This one, I thought the longevity was poorer than it actually is. So I thought I got about 5 hours, but I put this on the other day and it literally lasted the full day and into the evening. So great longevity on this one. Yeah, I'm really impressed with this one. And I love, especially for spring, that cherry rose opening. It's just so pretty. Yeah, love it. Next fragrance is FLORABOTANICA by Balenciaga. Now, I know that this one is discontinued. I am going to leave the link. I know it is still available, but for quite a hefty price. So I'll leave the fragrance net link, but also you can get the dupe of this on Perfume Parlor's web, which I'll also leave linked. That one has a little more mint, so I definitely smell more mint in it. But other than that, it's really quite similar. And if you're just walking by, you definitely think it's FLORABOTANICA. So I've tried that one. I almost like the Perfume Parlor version better because I like that stronger mint in it. But this one has a little bit more character as far as the way it develops over time in the original. But still, if you really want your hands on it, get the dupe. So in any case, they'll both be linked down below. This, when you first sniff it, you get that mint, and there's a cannabis note in this one as well. Now, the cannabis doesn't smell like you're walking by someone smoking a toke. Like, it's not weed smelling. It's more like a fresh green. I literally don't notice it, but I've never smelt just fresh cannabis ever. So couldn't really tell you. I know I've smelt cannabis in a Fragrance Du Bois fragrance, and it was a lot more pungent than what I get in this. This is kind of like lawn clippings, or like you're walking through an English garden. It's kind of dewy, little bit misty. Like, I just think totally, well, let's face it, I think romantically all the time, but just kind of this romantic atmosphere, a little bit dewy, early in the morning, mist on the hills you can see, and you're walking through this beautiful rose garden, and you can smell the grass, and you can smell the leaves and the wood and everything. That's kind of what I get in the opening of this, just a fresh, refreshing green. And then as it dries, you begin to feel this rose come out, and totally reminds me of a rose just kind of opening up in the morning sun. And it's got little dew things on it, like dewdrops on it, and it smells totally like a fresh, youthful rose. that's what I get in this. So this one is so cool because you get that green opening and then get to experience this beautiful fragrant rose as it dries down. This thing is a beast for longevity as well, lasts all day. Sillage is amazing on it. So this is very beautiful, and to me it's just perfect for spring. You know, I think the florals and you know, that greenness, so this is perfect. FLORABOTANICA by Balenciaga. Oh, two that I mentioned recently, I'm going to just mention them quickly, but I have to mention them because I'm definitely, they're in my top 10. ELIE SAAB Le Parfum. This is an orange blossom balm with honey and cedar. So it keeps it a little bit sweeter, a little bit more grounded than just a full-on orange blossom. But still, if you're not into orange blossom or neroli, steer clear of this. But to me, it just smells totally like spring. Like when I walk by a tree where the blossoms have come out, and we don't have tons of those. Like we've got apple trees, so we have apple blossoms and cherry blossoms. We don't have any orange blossom. But even so, like that sweet blossom smell is what this kind of reminds me of. So I totally think white florals in a tree when I smell this. But I like that little bit of honey that kind of sweetens it up just a tad, but then also that spiciness from the cedar. And I find that this one is really quite sexy too. So if you want a floral fragrance where you're going to smell classy, but just ever so, I don't know, a little bit intriguing, a little bit, I don't know, something, you want to try ELIE SAAB Le Parfum. Now the other one that I mentioned, so I'm going to be real quick, is Issey Miyake's Low Dissy Rose and Rose. There's pear, there's raspberry, there's red berries in this in the opening. Totally get that juicy red berry feel. But then you have this beautiful rose in it as well. I seem to have quite a few rose fragrances, like all of these are rose centric, but in any case, just beautiful. When I think spring, I think floral. When I think summer, I think beach. When I think spring, I think florals, fruity, that sort of thing. So this one, definitely you get that rose, you get the raspberry and the red berry kind of feel to it. Don't really notice the pear. This one is excellent for longevity actually as well. As this dries down, this becomes a lot more jammy and fruity. So, you know, FLORABOTANICA is rose, but it's more of a clean green rose, whereas this ends up being more of a jammy rose with those fruits in it. So this one is absolutely beautiful. If you like Low Dissy, which I like Low Dissy, but I like this version better just because I like the fruits on it. So yeah, this one is just absolutely delicious, and I am so happy to have it for the spring. Next, I have Scandal à Paris, and I just realized I always thought that this was a metal plate that was in here, and all it was silver paint, and it's all worn off, so you can't even tell what it is. But this is one of my sets of legs, and Scandal à Paris, absolutely beautiful. You get the honey. In this one there's jasmine, and there's also pear. So this one is kind of fresh. The pear just kind of elevates it, makes it feel a little bit lighter, a little more juicy. This is definitely something you can wear during the day, but because of that honey, it's also a little bit intoxicating as well. So I love this one. I'm very excited over this one because my husband has commented on it twice. Scandal à Paris, absolutely beautiful. If you find Scandal, like the original Scandal by Jean Paul Gaultier, too strong, like just too sickly sweet or too strong, this one might be a great one to check out because you still get a little bit of flirtiness from that honey, but the pear just kind of makes it a little bit more fresh, still keeping it sweet and sweet and feminine and girly. The pear in this one doesn't smell like a cooked pear, so where La Belle is much more of a kind of cooked pear smell to me, a little bit boozy. This one smells a lot more just like a ripe, juicy pear, and maybe even a little bit of smelling you know, smelling the outside of the pear before you bite into it, you know, that feel, that fresh feel is kind of what you get in this one. So I love it. The next fragrance on my list is La Petite Robe Noire Légère. This is one of the flankers of the original, and this came out in 2018. Now, the Légère version is the same as Hippie Chic. The bottle on this one is kind of a little bit more pinky, like kind of a bright fuchsia at the bottom, and this one also has kind of a lace short dress. So that's how you can tell which one this one is. It'll either be called Hippie Chic or Légère, and it's an eau de parfum. This one is very beautiful. It smells very, very similar to the original in my opinion. So you get sour cherry. I'm just going to read the notes because there's so many of them. In this one you get sour cherry, almond, rosewater, lime, and lemon in the opening. The middle has black tea, rose, raspberry, licorice, peony, and peach. And the base has tonka bean, violet patchouli, and white musk. So this, tons of notes. I get a tiny bit of that raspberry, but primarily to me this one smells very similar to the original. It's a little bit lighter, has a little bit less patchouli. It's got a little less of that licorice, like you don't notice it as much. So definitely a little bit more of a lighter, brighter than the original, but very, very similar. So if you've got the original, I wouldn't run out and buy this one. And honestly, this one or the original to me would be great for the spring. I just happen to have this one. So I'm really looking forward to wearing this one. Yeah, it smells sweet. It smells a little bit syrupy, but at the same time kind of airy. I don't know how that's possible. There's such a mixture of notes in there. I definitely get a hint of that almond. Don't really notice the tea. Get a little bit of that peony feel. It's actually just simply gorgeous, and it's refreshing and bright and cheery. So totally, totally looking forward to wearing that this spring. The next fragrance I have for you is Sofia by Sofia Vergara. Now this has plum, blackcurrant, and cassis in the opening. So it's kind of juicy, but kind of a darker fruit, but still somehow just smells so juicy and delectable in the opening. It has orchid, rose, and violet in the middle notes. I primarily get that rose. But it smells like a really sweet rose and just kind of blended in. It's not like it's the massive star of the show. Like, I don't think of this as super rose centric like some of the other ones that I've been showing you. And then the base has woody notes, sandalwood, and vanilla. What I primarily get is this linear, juicy plum blackberry type feel in this one with a little bit of that blackcurrant from the cassis. It's juicy, it's delicious, but somehow it still smells sophisticated and classy. So you smell like a youthful, classy chick. Like I think of in New York, let's say, you know, the New York movies where you've got this beautiful heroine and she's, you know, got a business suit on and she's walking through the streets of, actually, you know, the movie Devil Wears Prada? Well, I picture Meryl Streep in Prada La Femme, because it's the rich boss lady, you know, scary dragon lady type scent. This would be Anne Hathaway, but only when Anne Hathaway kind of gets her act together and she's got her kind of cool outfits on and she's totally embraced working for this magazine. She's probably wearing Sofia. Well, I can actually see her in Sofia. I can see her in this one too. I can see her in this one. But you get the feel, like just that youthful but classy fragrance. Totally this. It's a little bit mouth-watering, juicy. When I put this on, I feel happy literally every time. Always gonna be in my collection. It's an absolute winner, and it's like 30 bucks. Can't beat it. Well, some people don't like this though. Like, just to be real. Some people have told me how she just thought this was so despicable, she couldn't even believe that I recommended it. So some people really hate this. So, you know, you blind buy at your own risk. Yeah, I happen to absolutely love this one. The last fragrance I have to share with you is Dolce Garden by Dolce & Gabbana. Now this fragrance, it's so beautiful. It's sweet, it's delicious. Somehow this feels relaxing to me. It's probably the most summery because it's got some tropical florals in this, but this has magnolia, mandarin orange, and neroli in the opening. I get a little bit of waxiness, I think, from that magnolia, but I don't really notice that a whole lot. In the middle, this has coconut, frangipani, and ylang ylang. Definitely get more of those yellow florals in this one. And then the base is sandalwood, almond, and vanilla. This one, you definitely get the almond and the coconut, so there's a little bit of a creaminess with this. It's got a little bit of waxy quality in it. Floral, it almost smells edible, so this is considered a floral gourmand, and that sounds about reasonable because you definitely get that coconut, that little bit of almond. It's quite sweet, almost syrupy, but then you've got a little bit of that tropical floral in there to just make this one, it's just delectable. Now the thing about this one is that, you know, looking at the notes, you'd think summer, but I personally find this one a little bit heavy for summer. So I like wearing it in the warmer, a little bit cooler, warmer weather. So this one to me is perfect for spring or a summer evening. It's intoxicating to me, absolutely intoxicating. And that is it. Those are my top 10 perfumes for spring. What are your top 3 fragrances, or if you want to put the full top 10, I would love to know. What are you excited about wearing for spring? Please put it in the comments. And again, thank you to Jeulia's Jewelry for the beautiful ring. Seriously, I'm in love with their jewelry. It takes a while for their packages to come, like not always, but sometimes. So if you're wanting to order for Mother's Day, probably it'd be good to get a run on it now. Anyway, that is it for today. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you soon.